Erling Haaland will be named Player of the Year, and it is a disgrace if you know ball. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Erling Haaland, but I'm going to give you at least 3 players that deserve to be Player of the Year over Erling Haaland, who I admit is world class, and I admit is going to smash the Premier League goal scoring record. So why is Erling Haaland being named Player of the Year a disgrace? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, but I'm telling you he will get it. He'll get voted by his peers because they're lazy. These are the same players that vote Kevin De Bruyne every year, even if he has a bad year. And journalists and anybody else involved in the voting process are also just glory people. They'll just do the easy thing. You know as well as I do that now Lampard's been sacked, he's going to be back on BT in no time, just like Gerrard. It's the same status quo, making the same decisions in this industry, and that's why we get the same silly analysis. I mean, look, this is actually true. On the 31st of December, Rio Ferdinand tweeted, "Give Young Player of the Year to Saka now, and whilst you're at it, give Player of the Year to Erling Haaland." 2 weeks later, on the 13th of January, he says, "Erling Haaland's been good, but for me, Ødegaard's Player of the Year." That's somebody who is a pundit within 2 weeks completely flipping their opinion like we didn't hear what you said before. So this is what you're getting. You're not getting deep analysis. You are getting, oh, who's man of the match? Shit, I don't know. Who scored the goal? Give it to them. That's the sort of thing we get now as the consumer. And yet you look around social media, you look on YouTube, you've got people who are talking in depth about football, watching it, consuming it, debating it. And you've got people making decisions who change their opinion within 13 days and, get jobs as a top-level pundit when they've just been found out as a Premier League coach for the second time. It's poor standards. And that is why Erling Haaland should not be Player of the Year, because we're better than that. This is the best league in the world, and we're better than that. There are 3 standout alternatives to Erling Haaland, in my opinion, that deserve it, because the reason I wouldn't give it to Erling Haaland is, even if he scores 50 goals, is because he's doing it in a Man City side that is just about potentially going to win the 3rd Premier League in a row. Hopefully Arsenal will do it, but they're a fantastic side who buy a striker, and God, oh my God, Slow Sports News, Manchester City signs striker and he smashes goal records. I mean, wow. It's not shocking. I think if Harry Kane had gone there a year ago, he would have scored a load of goals. I think if Ronaldo had gone there a year ago, he would have scored a load of goals. Erling Haaland is world class. He's not the best striker in the world. I had this argument with Ben Foster yesterday. Lewandowski's a better finisher than Haaland, but Haaland is world class. But I wouldn't give him Player of the Year because he's been up front for Man City, scoring a lot of the chances they create for him. I think, I wouldn't say Mitrovic or Tony have had a better season, but I think it's a harder season to score the goals they've done comparatively to being up front for Manchester City. So, for me, it would be wrong to give it to Erling Haaland, but I'm absolutely expecting it. Ødegaard should be Player of the Year, but I've got 2 alternatives. Ødegaard should get Player of the Year. There are 3 candidates I have for Player of the Year. One of them plays for Arsenal, one of them plays for Newcastle, and one of them plays for Manchester United. And there's no coincidence with that, because we're a Chelsea, we're a Liverpool, and why are Man City not 30 points clear? Apparently when Erling Haaland started scoring his hat-tricks at the start of the season, Man City were going to have this title won by Christmas. Well, I tell you what, they bloody don't, and they might not even win the title. Where's Liverpool? Where's Chelsea? Where's Spurs? They're not in the top 4 because it's Arsenal, Manchester United and Newcastle deservedly there. How are they there? Well, they're there because they've defied the odds. Newcastle are, all right, they've got money, but they've not bought bloody Robinho yet, have they? They've been clever with that money. Arsenal, all right, they're on the upward curve, but no one expected them to be top of the league. Manchester United, they've just had the worst Premier League season ever. We're lucky we're not playing Thursday night Conference League football. And now, well, up until Arsenal beat us, we were in a title race and we're comfortably top 4. That's not just about management, that's about players as well. And for me, when you're looking at Player of the Year, it's a bit like Manager of the Year. It's bloody lazy to give it to Pep if he wins 3 Premier Leagues in a title or finally wins a Champions League. How's about look at context? Look at the context. How the bloody hell are Arsenal the best team in the league at the moment? Nearly said the world. Got to be in the Champions League first. How are they there? How are Manchester United where they are? And how are Newcastle where they are? I know Erling Haaland's fantastic and I know he's scored a lot of goals, but I'm not surprised by that. It doesn't shock me that Erling Haaland goes to Manchester United and scores a load of goals. I am not shocked. I'll sit there and go, what an amazing player. he's a machine. Another hat-trick, wow. But I don't go, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I never thought that was going to happen. I never thought one of the best teams in the world were going to buy one of the best strikers in the world and he was going to score loads of goals. It doesn't make sense. How is this happening? How are Man City that create loads of chances having a striker that's scoring loads of goals? It's not like the two things are exclusive. I don't get it. But what does surprise me is the brilliance of people like Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle, Casemiro at Manchester United, and at the top of the tree, Ødegaard at Arsenal. Look, I think that at Arsenal, if you got these pundits to give the Player of the Year, they'd give it to Saka. I think if you asked them for Manchester United, they'd probably give it to Rashford. And if you asked them for Newcastle, I don't know, maybe they give it to Nick Pope because he's got a British passport. I don't know. But if you've watched the game, and really, I say I've played the game. I think that's a stupid thing. I don't think I've played the game means sod all, as we know now, because people who've played the game think Martinez is too small to play in the Premier League. People who've played the game flip their opinion each week just because they don't do any research. I think I've watched the game is more important. And I've watched the game, like many of you have watched the game. And Ødegaard, I mean, considering he was considered to be a bit of a flop at Real Madrid, to be plucked out of Real Madrid, captain of Arsenal, and fundamentally the key to Arsenal's attacking, and also does a lot of defensive work as well. I think it would be a disgrace. I think it would be a disgrace to the game and this league if Arsenal's Ødegaard didn't win Player of the Year. But I'll guarantee you Erling Haaland will win it because he scored a load of goals in a Man City side and he's a world-class striker. What's more impressive? Being the goal scorer in a Man City side that creates loads of chances, or being the captain and conductor of the Arsenal side, which has lost one game all season, is clear at the top and is defying logic? I think we all know, don't we? I think we all know. We all know. You know what it's like, actually? I like an analogy. It's like the rich kid turning up to Formula 1 in the Ferrari his daddy's bought, and he's a good racer, but he's driving in the car that his daddy's bought for him, right? And then Ødegaard turns up in a car he's built, just a natural talent, and he's beating him. And everyone goes, yeah, but that Ferrari looks really nice, and he's a really good driver. I mean, the work that's gone into Ødegaard, comparable to what Haaland's walked into, it's just completely a massive contrast. And look, I will say this, it's David and Goliath here. Goliath is Haaland. He's going to get the votes. But, for me, David should win this battle. Or should I say Martin Ødegaard should be winning this battle. I think he is head and shoulders Player of the Year if you know. If you know, you know. If you know your football and you look at it as a bigger picture, it'd be very much like Thomas Frank getting Brentford 4th place and Arteta winning the league. Arteta winning the league for Arsenal would be absolutely incredible, but you should give it to Thomas Frank if they get 4th place, because that's stunning in light of how he's done it with the resources he's done and the club he's done it with. And I think Arsenal fans would agree with that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Ødegaard over Haaland. And look, both Norwegian as well. There's no loser here. And Haaland's a fantastic player. And in normal seasons, I'd probably say you've got to give it him because of the goal scoring record. But I feel that it's logical to give it to Haaland, but it's common sense to give it to Ødegaard. Two Norwegians are the best two players in the Premier League as well. I know you didn't play in the World Cup, but that's something to be proud of, isn't it? That is really something to be proud of if you are Norwegian. I would also give a shout out to Bruno Guimaraes. I think that Newcastle are in a position of, again, exceeding expectation. I know they're rich, but they're not expected to be in the top 4 and comfortably in the top 4. And I think that's the respect I put on Newcastle. Their defence is unbelievable, and they are comfortably top 4 right now. So you look at that Newcastle side and you go, well, why are they there? And their defence has been brilliant, and I think Nick Pope and other players, certainly in the defence, deserve credit. Their attack has probably not been as prolific as you would like. Almiron's been good, but recently it's dropped off. But Bruno Guimaraes, again, is the conductor of that team. You take him out, and I thought he got injured the other day, and I was like, that'll massively damage them. So Bruno Guimaraes has to be a contender because he's the player for me that symbolises more than anybody else Newcastle's amazing season. And the same at Manchester United. When I look at Manchester United, again, I think people would go Marcus Rashford, but I look at Casemiro and I go, he is the player that's made the difference. As a United fan, he is the player that's made the difference to that team all around. I know he doesn't score the goals like Rashford, but he is the player. So for me, Ødegaard is way ahead of Haaland, and I would argue that you could make a case for Bruno Guimaraes and Casemiro over Haaland. I'm not saying I would. Ødegaard over Haaland, 100%. Get your comments in below. I think it'll be a disgrace if Haaland gets it. Is that controversial? Some people will say that. Some people will use their brain and go, he's making a good argument here. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.